Welcome to the crazy. You, to get started here, who is Christopher? And then we'll get into why we're talking in the first place. How's that sound?
Okay. All right. Sounds great. Who's Christopher? I've been around computers for a long time. Got my first computer in 1983. And I've worked at a lot of different in a lot of different industries. I've worked in the defense industry. I've worked in the gaming industry, the financial technology industry, the digital signage industry. And I've primarily been an architect and a programmer for longer than I haven't. I absolutely love it. And one of the things that I guess I really love about it is the creating something that hasn't existed before. I've always been able to work on the edge of tech, whether it be in the defense industry or fintech or whatever. So it's what gets me up in the morning. It's what keeps me going.
I completely understand. Software makes lives easier.
Yeah, it does.
So does brisket and a few other things. So
a good pork shoulder.
Right. So we're here because it was I don't know, a couple of weeks ago we started talking about monitors, and I said, don't do any research. I've done all the research already. Learn from me. And then that kind of snowballed into a whole bunch of stuff, good stuff, right? And so I said, stop talking. Let's just record the conversation. So the original intent of this conversation is to talk cameras, but I have a feeling it's going to meander around audio, cameras, gigantic monitors, and a few other things. So I guess the floor is yours.
Well, again, as you mentioned, the monitor thing, it was great when you said, don't do the research, I've done it. It's like, thank you, because that is one of the biggest nightmares during, of trying to find new computers or new peripherals or monitors or whatever, even mice, is what is good, what is bad. You gave me the advice on the 38-inch Dell, and I absolutely love it. Traditionally, I'd always used multiple monitors and kind of used that split as a way to divide work. But with this one giant monitor, it's brilliant. Besides, I can take more real estate if something doesn't need. If I'm just doing a small web page, I can have a whole screen full of code. So I love the 38-inch Dell. I would do it again in a heartbeat. But the next thing I noticed is that when you got on the on one of our video chats, I think it was either a lunch or a happy hour, your camera is like amazing. Yeah. It's got some great blur in the background. I don't know if you've got some f-stoppage going there or nice. So talk to me a little bit about your camera.
Yeah. So I think the first thing to just get on with any camera is just recognizing that you need a massive amount of light. It doesn't matter. I mean, I guess if you spent thousands on a camera, that's one thing, but cameras are useless without good lighting. And so I've had a variety of cameras. Actually, I took it away from me. I've had a Canon D80 APS-C, I'm sorry, 80D, not ADHD. Horrible naming. So I had a Canon for a while. I have a Logitech Brio, and then what you're looking at me right now is a Sony A6400. Again, mirrorless. This one's a mirrorless APS-C size sensor. So what is that, like micro 4/3 or something like that? But it's a DSLR.
Okay.
So and it would be pretty useless without lighting too. I'm lighting fortunate because I have a window right there, and I have a window right there, and I have a window right there, and a window right there. And so my desk isn't necessarily in the most like ergonomically correct for the office situation, but if I flip it around and I'm facing this dark wall, I lose all it like sucks in light more than it doesn't.
Right.
but I have no other lights at the moment. So if it was at night, I'd have some issues. But I ended up switching to this camera recently. So I've only had a camera for a few weeks. I switched to it from my Brio because I didn't get the depth of field that I wanted. I couldn't get the clarity that I wanted. I couldn't get the lighting that I wanted. The Brio is a 4K camera or 4K webcam, but it looks like, I can't switch you, but I can switch the live stream. It looks like that. And, you know, it's not bad. It's overly exposed. I mean, but it's a little tiny webcam that sits, you know, on you know, the top of your monitor. So, A6400 dummy battery. It has a 16 millimeter lens that has an f-stop of 1.4, and it goes into a capture card, which then feeds into the computer that makes it look like another HDMI device. So
Okay.
HDMI out into capture card into machine, magically becomes webcam. And you have to think about things. And there are other DSLRs. The Canon didn't work because the one I had did not have the cleanest of outputs. You have to mess around to try to get a clean HDMI out. So right now, this camera is basically playing. It's not recording. It's just replaying outwards, and I'm just taking that feed out. So it's a little backwards of what you would think, if you will. But my Canon wouldn't. Now, Canon in the last 2 weeks released some software for a segment of their cameras only on Windows. I guess it's coming to Mac soon, but where you don't need a capture card. You can plug it in, I guess, via USB and get it to look like another HDMI device or a camera.
So it's basically just streaming video at that point.
Which is all
Pure streaming video.
Which is all that I'm doing with my Sony.
Okay. Wow, the image is great. So how is this mounted? Is it? I assume that's just attached to the top of your monitor.
No, it's not. I'm using a Manfrotto friction arm. I don't know if you're sure if you've ever seen a friction arm before. I can't take it off, and I don't have another one. But a friction arm is an arm that has like a joint, and then two arms, and then a joint or a knuckle, if you will, and then two fittings. And the fittings are kind of the universal camera fittings that adapt to anything like you'd see on the top of maybe a C-stand or something like that. But you take in the middle of this, a little off center for my camera, in the middle of this friction arm is a giant tensioner. And so you move it however you want it, right? And then you just tighten it, and it'll keep that awkward. Try to get camera.
Okay.
Keep that awkward position, right? So you can go, something like that. For me, okay, you're in the same boat now because you have a 38-inch monitor and I have a 49. My desk, right now it's a disaster. I want my monitor floating. I don't want to see anything. I want all the room that I can get front to back. I had originally bought the friction arm because I wanted to clamp it to my Ergotron, so the monitor arm that I recommended. But the clamp, because I knew that the monitor arm would hold it, but the clamp the mouth wouldn't get wide enough. So I couldn't get it connected to that. But I ended up just being able to clamp it to my desk, kind of right next to where the base of the Ergotron base is at. And then I just take it, and it's kind of sitting up. This would be fun. Let's see if we can do this. It's just sitting at the base. So this is what we call. Oh no, that's me. I got the bokeh in the bokeh. Right, so it looks something like that.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So it's a little off center.
So it's actually really tall. The mount is pretty tall. The camera mount.
Yeah.
It was not floor standing, but it's taller than I would have expected.
No. It would be, I don't know, maybe 2 feet total, maybe.
Okay.
I can point everybody to one. They make friction arms are a pretty standard like camera gear thing. I just found one that I've always been happy with Manfrotto stuff, so I just kind of stuck with it, and then it has a DSLR. Well, I shouldn't say that. It has a 1/4-20 mount that's made to attach a camera. So on one end of the friction arm, you have a big jaw, and then on the other end, you have a mount for a camera, and then it just kind of screws to the bottom of the camera. So
okay, cool.
Works great. I mean, it picks up some of the vibrations from the desk. You can see if I hit it
Right.
a little bit, it picks it up. This camera doesn't have like in-body stabilization, so if it did, that would go away. But you have to, whatever camera you choose, you need to make sure that it won't overheat. So.
Oh, interesting. I suppose it's always on at this point. Unlike a normal camera mode, it's just kind of on once in a while.
Right. It is, and it's pushing 4K. This is 4K 30 frames. There's a 60. I have the 64. I think there's a 66. Maybe a 6000. I think one of them pushes 60 frames. You kind of have to live with inside the software that you are. I think that's the piece that gets a little bit more complicated is capture card's doing one thing, the software that you're spitting out is doing another thing. So you kind of all need to play within. Like if you're pushing 60 frames a second 4K, but your capture card won't do that, and it's pointless.
Right.
So,
right. Everyone's got to dance the same dance.
Yeah, they got to play within the same rules. I don't use it for audio. I'm using a microphone and a preprocessor. But
well, so actually, I saw that. Now that you've brought that up, you've got this big microphone, and I saw it in the picture, but I can also see it in this video. So what tool is that?
This is a high LPR40 plugged into a DBX preprocessor, which has a preamp, a compressor, a de-esser, a noise gate. The reason that's running is because it's super echoey in here. Now that I've redone it and it's all hardscape and hard floor, that goes into an audio interface called, this one's a Scarlett 2i. It's made by Focusrite. And all that's doing is taking XLR and shoving it to USB. And then that USB goes into my Caldigit and then feeds back into my Mac Mini.
Oh, okay. So you're like semi-pro setup. I mean, the only thing that you're missing is a true studio.
I guess. I mean, I heard a great thing it was last night actually. Like, this is your new suit. Like the world we live in, whatever. We're stuck like this for a while. It's not going to change, right? We're going to be working from home. Working from home will become our kind of new gig, right? So this is your $1,000 suit. If you don't sound good and you don't look good, well, then you're not looking good to the people that you're trying to interface with. And audio is the most important. Video's second. I guess clothes are now third. Pants are optional.
Yeah, we don't. I don't even know if you're wearing pants. So
yeah, I put on pants today.
You remembered.
But when you think about it like that, I mean, how much you spend on a suit? Well, not that we wear suits to go to work anymore, but the point being, if that was the attire, you may spend $5,000 or $6,000 on a suit. I have $2,000 invested in gear. So the camera was, I think the body is like 800 maybe, and maybe 300 for the lens. Now I could have used a kit lens, but I wanted the juicy background. So I got the, right? Like you noticed, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's very very striking.
Money well spent, right? The interface, I don't know. The audio interface was probably maybe $200, $100. I don't think it was very expensive.
Okay.
I only have the preprocessor because of trying to take echo and noise out of this, because I've always been super conscious of the fact that there's a home on the other side of this wall with kids. And if I have an opportunity to block out sound from dog or this or that, then that's a good thing. So I had the preprocessor simply because of that. And that's it. You're right. A microphone. You can go wherever. This was given to me a long time ago from a friend. So,
Okay. No, the microphone sounds good. It's good. So you mentioned the Caldigit. You and I have had a couple conversations about coming out of the new Macs and into these devices. Do you want to describe that a little bit?
Yeah, the Caldigit is a glorified Thunderbolt, and they make other ones too, but mine's a Thunderbolt to whatever. And I say that because you get microphone, jack, Thunderbolt ports, USB, what was that, an SD reader, a DVI. No, not DVI. Is it DVI?
It's DP as well as HDMI, right?
Oh, DP. Yeah, right. DisplayPort.
Yep.
DisplayPort, HDMI, and whatever. I needed DisplayPort, USB-C, SD reader, right, and more USB because you can never have enough. And
yeah, it's true.
The Mac Mini's got a ton of USB-C and USB-A, but it's nice to be able to plug into one thing and just be done with it. So, but yeah, it used to be before I switched to the Mac Mini, my laptop went to the Caldigit. Caldigit went to all the things. So it was just one plug for me. Plug the charge and plug the computer, and then I just use it like a docking station.
Okay. Oh, so the Caldigit you have actually is charging as well?
It can, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. So the one I have does not charge. The one I have is one of the small ones that basically, what does it have? It has 2 HDMI, USB 3, USB 2, and Ethernet.
Go big or go home, baby. Well, and to be fair, like the Caldigit is expensive. Like for what it is, I think it's $300. So that's a bit. It works well. Right, you have to kind of preface it like I just had an Amazon Basics USB 3 powered, $60 hub just went up and blew smoke. So
right,
all I did was plug USB stuff into it. Like I don't know why it went up in smoke, but it did. My Caldigit hasn't. So for what that's worth.
Oh no, I have a small little pile of dead USB powered ports.
Yeah.
It's just. I just need to throw them away during the office clean.
Yeah. So New Space, welcome. He mentioned, or she, I shouldn't assume, NVIDIA voice on newer RTX video cards in some 10XX cards. Works really well to remove background noise. I use it every day. Yeah, that's a good point. Like even like the Logitech does a really good job of taking background noise, or I'm pointing the Brio. Like they do a lot of those things do a really good job at taking background noise away. But heard a pro the other day say, listen, anytime you have something that's taking noise away, it's also taking noise away from the other person. So if you can wear headphones, right, to at least be the output, then the other person will not pick up the receiving end of that, which I thought was an interesting point.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It does. It's not. Maybe they put it back in and whatnot, but it's worked audio versus then just true kind of coming through. So,
Huh. Interesting. I'm gonna have to check out those devices. You might have to make a list when we're done and post the list of products. Just as a note on the Caldigit, I noticed that on Amazon it's like $50 off from B&H right now.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's like $230 instead of $280, something like that.
Yeah. So we had Matt, welcome. Another person, give me a list. Yeah, we'll put together a list and put it in put it with. I'll put this up on YouTube and I'll put the list in the description. So
cool. Excellent. So what kind of software are you using to pull all these things together?
So that's where things get even better. If you're on a Mac, I don't have anything, which is really weird. Nothing. I have nothing. I have nothing for the so my capture card, because somebody's gonna ask, is an Elgato Cam Link. I think so it's a gaming capture card, I guess. I mean, it's a smaller one. It's not like something that plugs into a workstation. So 0 software there, just plug it in. Obviously, no software for the camera. No software for the Caldigit. No software for the audio interface. That just shows up as an audio device. The DBX is like, I guess what would be a good thing? A prosumer? That's probably a word.
It is now.
Yeah, I think it is. It's like, it's not the pro gear, but it's also not like buy it at a shelf at Best Buy.
Right.
There's obviously no software for that or a microphone. The only piece of tech that I have that has software for it is my Stream Deck. And that's just so that you can program the buttons and the things that are on there. And
that is cool.
Right. So you could see you're on there, I'm on there.
Yeah.
I can split it. I can send it to just you.
I like that.
Now, if you're on Windows, now that's a different story. I haven't been on Windows in a long time. You need a driver for everything, and whatnot. Now, flip side of that is the software that I'm using on my machine would be Skype. Like you and I'm connected to you via Skype. Skype has something called NDI, which is piping to, in our case right now, Ecamm. And Ecamm is doing the stream. The stream I did this morning was using something called Streamlabs, which is a port, I guess, of OBS. And that does the same, but lets you compose more things. But Zoom doesn't, you see anything? Like I didn't have to do anything special for Skype. I do have a GPU, an eGPU on my Mac Mini, but we're getting some spam. How do I block that? What in the world? Yeah, that's unfortunate. What do I need a chat bot to moderate. Yes, I do. Clearly.
That's so. Now that you're not to distract you, but that's one of the things I really enjoy about that conference Slack. It's a safe environment. People are supportive. People are interested. They're not trying to flame anybody, and it's a nice place to go. And I enjoy reading it over the course of the day. So one thing that I noticed that when you take these and you put them back up on YouTube, are you using video editing software to kind of take out the front and the back, or what are you using for that?
So I'll be real honest. Right now, I am not doing the best that I can, obviously, because I'm just trying to get things moving. Let's put it that way, right? So yeah. I know that it's not the best by any stretch. Twitch will do an export to YouTube. Here's the intent, right? The stuff that's on YouTube needs to have more polish put on it. When I think about Twitch, I think about just the engagement, right? Like, even though we got kind of side railed by whatever this crap is, at least, right, there's a community of folks who are like, we're all having a conversation at the moment, right? When we get to YouTube, it needs to be a little bit more purpose, kind of eyes forward, if you will. Right. Otherwise, you're going to kind of lose interest in it. Do I need to do some editing on that? Yes, but the stuff on Twitch kind of dies off. So I am right now, I'm just kind of taking and posting it over. At the moment, I'm not even putting like a bumper on the front and back, but I will get to that point. On the unspecified side, it's a bit the same too, right? Like just get the wheels going, make sure that I'm just doing it's better to do than to not to do. Let's put it that way.
Right. We can go with that.
Yeah. I guess it's a crawl before you walk. I mean, I don't.
Yeah. Well, let me know when you're done with this research on the software. You can just throw out a recommendation, so I don't have to do the same research.
Well, it depends on what you do. I mean, when you say software, what is it that you're
video
working?
editing.
Oh, video.
Titles.
Oh, well, then
that kind of stuff.
From that, I can certainly tell you. I mean, that side of things, I use Final Cut for all my video work. Final Cut is just straight for video. For audio, I'll use, what am I using for audio? No, I can't remember. On the Adobe side, you'd have like Audition and Premiere, but I have Final Cut. I mean, I use on the Final Cut side. For images and like that kind of stuff, like bumper images, I use Figma, which may seem odd, but Figma or the Affinity Suite. So Affinity Designer or Affinity Photo. That would be the equivalent of Adobe's Photoshop in Illustrator.
Okay.
But they're a one-time fee. They work on the iPad. They work on the Mac. They're wonderful tools.
Wow. Okay. I'll look at that.
Figma is a weird one because it's a design like mock-up tool, but it does a lot of really good exporting and things that center around that. So you can do some pretty cool stuff in Figma, and it's browser based. So
okay.
if you get into like reviews, like video reviews, then I would use Frame.io. They have a really nice way that you can watch something and in time code add comments, throughout the time code. What else do I got? Oh, compressor. That's another Mac tool. And then I forget Motion. That's what you would do, like your front end. I shouldn't say front end, but like animation. If you want stuff to slide in and move around.
Interesting. So I noticed that Apple just announced a new Logic Pro.
Yeah. But I've never messed with Logic. Like I felt like that was always for the music creators. I don't know if it really falls into like podcasting or that kind of thing. So.
Okay. Do you put the videos together yourself for the website, for that conference websites and the summaries and things like that?
Depends which one. We do have a creative company that we like the folks that when you were there last year, we had a couple guys running around with a video camera. That's from our creative company, and they're doing the editing on that one, and they can do it faster. They can do the color grading and all that kind of stuff that I don't want to. Would love to learn if I didn't have two companies to run in time. On the flip side of that, the reason the keynotes aren't released is because that is me doing them. So all the keynotes have been edited, by me, and the bumpers have been created by me, and the whole podcast, I did all the editing on that. So,
oh, great. That's cool.
I've been through it, but it takes time. Like an hour video probably would take me, like if I want to knock out one of those keynotes, I got probably, 4 days of work only because I don't use Final Cut every day. So there's a bit of like getting your feet back under you and what's the shortcut for slicing and
coming back up to speed.
Right. So you got a day in that, but then even when you're slicing and cutting, even if you remember all that stuff, then you've got to get through the content, right? Are there places that need to get fixed? Then you got to color grade it and fix the audio levels and get all that done. And then you got bumpers on the front and back and exporting. And cutting it all right and whatnot. So,
do you record the audio separately at the keynotes from the video?
I don't know. It's not separate. It's not separate in a sense that it's like a different. They are time code synced, but I'd have to go back and look at the tracks that we got this year because we did do it a little bit differently this year. We do. No, I take that back. It is part of. We have one camera that has. It has to be synced. It must be synced through the soundboard. So we have 2 cameras that ran this year and 2 or 3 mics. So I have a mic and the keynote has a mic. They come, or the keynoter, and then we have 2 videos. And they're all time code synced. And then those files, I have to look back up on how they have to kind of all get in sync and where the audio clips are. So yeah, they may be just different tracks all in the same thing as a result of how it comes out of the soundboard, but I don't remember for this year.
Okay.
More complicated than, you have to give it more respect than what you may think you have to.
Oh no, I've always been impressed with that tech. It's kind of spooky.
It is spooky, and it's amazing. Well, you and I, before we even started this thing, like, it's amazing that this stuff works some of the times. Like, I just
exactly.
Like, how in the hell do all these pieces like manage to work, and then you get completely thrown off by some stupid bot, which I don't even understand why they exist anyways. Like what's the point?
Right.
Go do something good.
All right, so we've touched on cameras, microphones, software, peripherals. What else?
I guess I'm curious. Like, what are you trying to do?
What am I trying to do? Well, currently I'm in the fintech space, and so I do a lot of C#, .NET Core, back-end stuff. I run VMware on my Mac so I can have multiple Windows machines running at the same time, as well as my Mac software. Doing a lot of just hardcore coding, Visual Studio, VS Code. But on my fun jobs, I'm working in Unity 3D for a couple different clients. And that's fun. That's just like brain candy. And I don't do any really heavy video editing or anything of that. That's why I always want to talk about it because it's very interesting to me. But it's basically the back end fintech stuff is my primary job. So, like I said, a lot of C#.
So but your goal around the questions have just been to level up the office, level up the home.
Fair. That was
no. I'm asking.
So yeah. No, it is and it isn't. I do want to level up my home, but I've also really been interested in creating training videos. I work a lot with Azure, and there are so many holes in documentation and training videos. And I'm a member of Pluralsight and all that stuff. And I know that stuff isn't easy. Getting your home set up so you can actually do something like that isn't easy. Like you said, you have a home on the other side of that wall,
right?
And so that's why I'm very interested in doing that. The impetus for this whole thing is when I had to buy my new Mac because my old one just kept overheating and just falling asleep. Yeah. So I'd get about an hour or two out of it, and then I'd have to leave it alone. It's like, okay, this dog don't hunt. And then I was working on a monitor I didn't really like, and so that's when the conversation started.
Okay.
With you.
So then I think about things like ScreenFlow. Like, that's a good video capture thing. I think it's what we're going to use to do the GraphQL course.
Okay.
I think the 38-inch monitor, really above a 27, right? Above 2560 by 1440. That's where you start getting into difficult to see, share. Like, that's where it's difficult to record such that somebody else can see your screen, if you're going down that path. I think things like ScreenFlow, and I'm trying to think of the other one. I think they have methods to do that kind of thing, but even something simple as Zoom, right? Unless you have somebody else who has a 49-inch screen, sharing your desktop is not an option. You can only right. You can only share applications or square spaces. In Zoom, they actually do have a thing where you can share a square, a predetermined square, and whatever's behind that square, they can see.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, because every once in a while we're on Swagger and I video, and it's like, let me share my screen. And everyone's like, we can't read that.
Right. And then, of course, nobody thinks they just think that your screen is like the resolution's super tiny, and not that you're on a giant screen. So they're always like, how do you read that?
No problem here on this side.
You can't read it? What's your problem? Let's see. So then, yeah, I mean, I think for you, it's audio, right? Like if you want to get into that place, then you need a mic and something centered around that, because you can't, even your microphone that you have on your headset now, right? It sounds, I don't know, tinny, right? It's not your full kind of spectrum voice. And it's not bad, but if you're going to do something that you want somebody else to listen to, now you want the nicest workspace. And the nice part about a big old 49 or a 38 is you can have your stuff segmented up kind of down the sides to see things. And when I do the streams in the morning, I basically have my monitor divided into two 27s. So the left side of my screen is the piece that's streaming. The right side of my screen is the chat window and the my notes and things like that. And so the two, while together, are in fact separate. So
yeah, makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Thank you very much for that refocus. That'll help. I'll look at the ScreenFlow.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
And my to buy list is a microphone.
Yeah. Well, all right. So microphones. So, this is a dynamic mic. The PR40 and the Shure SM7B, I think that's the model number. They're like the go-to kind of podcasters mics. They're also in the $300 to $400 range. The Shure has its own built-in windscreen and a better mount. So I think if I was to go back and buy one, I wouldn't buy the Heil. I'd probably buy the Shure. On the lower end of that, there are some, which I'm kind of interested in myself. There are some like boom mics. Audio Tecnica makes one. I think it's like the 1825 or something, but they have a focus pattern, right? It kind of goes at an angle, and it does some noise cancellation. So this microphone doesn't really pick up anything behind it as much as it does in front. The boom, some of the boom mics, they're not all called boom mics, but they have a pretty nice pattern. I worry about the keyboard, right? And whoop, shouldn't have touched the keyboard. I worry about like the noise on the keyboard and being able to hear that, and so that kind of coming up. I think some of the boom mics, you could probably angle it such that it's picking the pattern higher, but then it's also going to hit the reflection back behind you. Now you could put up welding blankets or, something like that to help the noise. But the other trick I heard was turning your desk off camber, if you will. So
okay. So it's not a straight bounce back from between walls.
Yep. Right. And I'm actually at an angle because of that as well. So
yeah, that makes sense.
But I mean, I think this is one of those places where you can just never stop.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. I'll
have to make a list.
Right. I'll take $9,000 more of these things. But yeah, it's it's good stuff. I mean, it's a good investment. I mean, you're basically investing in how you're presenting yourself to others. So like a good pair of jeans, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Although you don't need those now.
No. I still have some on.
Well, excellent. I really appreciate your time, and this has been really, really informative and entertaining.
Well, yeah.
I've got my list.
I think I must have blocked everybody in chat because now I don't see any more profanity or any comments. So
I didn't even see any in Slack either. So, so do you have any other purchases that you're planning on making next? I know that you kind of envy the 38 working on the 39 or 49.
Well, I have the 38 over there. Let's see. This 16. So this is a 16 millimeter lens. I sometimes wonder if I think the next step up is a 24 or a 30. I can't remember. I sometimes wonder if that would have been a better focal distance, but I know sometimes I look at this and it's fine. So I'm not sure. It's not something I really want to spend more money on. Arriving today is a boom. So this right now is actually on a hard surfaced stand. That picks up a lot of.
Right.
So, so the boom's coming today, and part of that again is clearing out space. I think that's kind of the end of my road. I mean, I've had the Caldigit. I just got the camera, and I just got a new Logitech split keyboard. So for us, for us Mac folks, right? Having those three buttons are the important ones.
Yeah, exactly.
But I needed to get back to split. I used to work on a Magic keyboard for, I don't know, forever. But I was just starting to jack up with my hands. I just couldn't do it anymore. So I went back to a split, but it took a while to find a split that I really wanted. So
what is it about this one that you like?
Proper Mac layout.
Okay.
I didn't want
the three buttons.
Yeah, I didn't want the. Lots of splits have these goofy like breaks in the middle, like it's actually physically split. Like I don't want anything. I just wanted a thin, split, simple keyboard. This reminds me a lot of the way the olden day Microsoft splits. It was a white keyboard way back in the day.
I remember those.
Yeah, that's what I learned to type on. That's what I learned. That was my first split that I learned to type on. And this reminds me a lot of that. I could care less for the number pad. They could just chop that off. I don't need that piece at all. Just be much nicer.
We can get a Bluetooth one if you need a keypad.
Yeah, but you can't get a keyboard without it. That's the problem. Like I just don't want the extra space. Like I just want to saw that thing off. So, and maybe that's because I've got a trackpad and I feel like I'm having to like reach, next door to go touch the trackpad. But, I mean, I think that really the next thing for us is just getting more of this stuff cleaned off. We're going to build a little cabinet, I guess, for the desk. It'll sit on the foot. I don't really want to call it a foot, but the base of the desk. So I still want to be able to move my desk around, but that means all the cables, right, need to go to one spot, and all the cables means my eGPU, my Mac Mini, the Caldigit, the Scarlett, the DisplayPort to the monitor, the HDMI cable, and the dummy battery. The DBX will go in there. Still need an XLR cable up to the desk, and USB up here, but I just want all that crap off my desk.
Yeah, I have these. My desk is not movable; it's just way too big. But I have these side-mounted power strips, so everything goes to the side. I push it back and then it goes to the side, and it's all right there. I don't have to. There's nothing on the floor that I'm going to kick. When I move around.
Yeah, I got these great power strips. I got these great power strips from Amazon. It used to be a place you could buy stuff and it would show up. Apparently not anymore.
No longer.
No more. But I got these. Put it in the frame.
Oh yeah, nice.
Nice, right? But
yeah, nice and big.
Key being that piece.
Mount it to something.
So I screw them underneath the desk. It's got a 9-foot cord. They're just mounted straight underneath the stand-up desks. The cord runs off to the side where the leg is at, and then everything from the desk just comes right underneath and plugs right in. High and tight, out of the way, nothing hanging on the floor.
Nice.
You can shut it all off with one click if you want. Not that I ever do, but I could.
I had a desk my last job that had a grid on the back, and so I took a whole bunch of twisty ties and I tied every cable, every bump in the line to that, and then I just went off into the wall, and I could just unplug it and move my desk anywhere I wanted and plug it back in.
Yeah, this desk, this frame was made by Fully. I think this is called the Jarvis. Excuse me. I don't know, Jarvis standing desk.
Okay.
Nothing. I mean, it was. I upgraded to this because the motors were really quiet.
Oh, okay.
My old desk, which my son now has, I mean, it's just loud. It sounds like a tank driving down the road when it goes up and down. This one, not so much.
So do you stand all the time, or do you have a chair as well?
I have a chair. I have a stool. I have 2 stools and a chair.
Do you have a bouncy ball?
I don't. I mean, we do.
How about a tread?
No,
or a treadmill?
I don't do any of that. I don't stand all day. I feel like I get more done standing, but I don't stand all day. I'll stand like good segments of the time. I've got a stool that you can rock back and forth on, which is fun. I don't sit on it all the time. And then I have some kind of metal like bar stools that we have that I used to sit on quite a bit. I wish they were padded. As I get older, I get bonier, I guess. But I do like sitting on a stool, though. That I don't know, something about being higher, I guess.
Yeah.
But a good chair, like you can't argue a good chair. Like that's Carrie got me in. What's it called? Aeron. Herman Miller. Yeah. Aileron.
That's the exact chair that I have.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Yeah. Like it's one chair. Like you're done. You don't have to buy another one.
Right.
Hopefully. Unless you're doing chair races in the office. That's happened before.
After happy hour?
No. Middle of the day races.
Middle of the day?
Yeah. I mean, my desktop is just a butcher's block. I think I told you the arm for the monitor, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
There's the Ergotron. That was a pretty big game changer. The monitor game changer. Like I'll never go back to multiple monitors.
No, neither will I.
Say that the only thing I might ever do would be to have one vertical, and that would just be to see like a terminal or something else kind of that I wanted in a really tall vertical view. But I love one monitor, one focal point, no bezels, just it's the way to go. Curved monitor, I would never get another flat screen ever. Done. Throw them out. See ya. Goodbye. Just curved.
Yeah, I love the curved monitor, but I still use my laptop monitor. Obviously because there's a camera on it because I don't have an external camera. But I like to be able to just throw all my Slack is over there. Emails.
All.
No, I don't.
Oh,
this is the camera coming over. Yeah.
Oh.
That was the impetus of my question. It's like, I got to do something better than that.
Yeah, see, you've left that part out. So, yeah, I don't. It would be hard. So the Brio, I think, is like, well, one, you can't even buy a Logitech webcam at the moment. So good luck with that.
Right.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I don't know that I would go back to a webcam. That's. I mean, if you got the bones for it, like, just get the DSLR or use your. If you have, do you have a DSLR?
Yeah, I have a 60D Canon.
So if that. So Canon webcam software. I wonder if that one's supported. Webcam utility. What do they got? 80, 77, 90. You're out. Time for a new camera. No. Here's the. I'll put this in the chat for. Yeah, that's a hard one. I'd be hard pressed to go back to a webcam if I didn't have to. I mean, there's certainly something nice about the convenience of it. It's nice and small. It sits on top of things. You don't need any extra stuff, but
right.
It's just not. It just doesn't look as good.
Yeah, the problem is the mic. I've never been pleased with webcam mics. It's because they're so if I do that, when I go that route and get rid of my headset, which is one of the reasons, because it kills the background noise and it keeps things a little quieter, then I'll definitely have to get the mic as well.
Yeah. Mics. I mean, audio is more important than a video. If you have to pick money to spend money on audio, for sure.
Okay. Well, look through that list that when you post this for your preamp and.
Yeah, I came out of here with more work. How did that happen?
The guy in the know gets all the work.
Yes. New Space in the chat was saying that he used a butcher's block and parts from Menards. My desktop is a butcher's block too. I just chose to buy a frame and screwed the butcher's block to a frame. I will say this though. This butcher's block is birch, maybe.
Okay.
The one on my old desk was teak. And I kind of wish we would have done teak because this is a little softer. And because of that, I've ended up with some gouges in places from, just not necessarily paying attention and setting something down and whatnot. So,
yeah.
Makes sense. I think you want to be.
Yeah, I've covered mine's a butcher block style, but it was actually designed as a desk instead of put together. But I have these big mats that I put like my keyboard on, and then I put my monitor stand on until I get my arm and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of protects the surface.
Yeah, you mentioned are things on my list. That's actually one of the things, like a felt pad. I've been looking at a felt pad. None of the felt pads that I want are cut at the size that I would like. Right? They're either overly way too big or they're just not wide enough because of this big old keyboard. But I have noticed with the butcher's block that the oils in your hands and wrists and all that do become a patina. That's probably a good way to say.
Good word. I like that.
They add some patina to your desk. You can completely see where I work.
Right. Clark stands here.
I should just shift all day and be like ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding.
Line feed carriage return.
Right. Yeah, but I have been looking at one of those mats and they're stupid expensive. I'm just going to find some felt and make it myself. But but I've wondered if that would help reduce some of the banging against the desk, like the transferal from keyboard to desk. And then,
it might, if it's thick enough.
Yeah.
I got mine at just like at Office Depot, and it's kind of a pleather on top, a stiff pleather, and then underneath it is maybe a 1/16 of an inch of foam. So it does absorb a little bit.
So I was looking at doing the sort of the opposite, some like nubuck or fake leather on the bottom, and then so it would be sticky, and then some felt on the top. Some kind of
interesting.
Felt. Yeah. But who's got time for that? And what's an Office Depot? Is that like a place you can buy stuff?
Yeah. It's like they've got these like buildings that are made out of bricks.
Sounds so
and like steel
year. It sounds so last year. Like January.
I've actually Office Depot has saved me a couple times though, because they'll do same day delivery. I had a project that I had to print out, and it's like I don't want to go there to get the ink, and they delivered it. Wow. And you pay for it, but it was worth it.
Nice. I will end with this. The last best, well, I guess there's two. Two of the best things we added in this office was a glass whiteboard. Not that it has to be glass, but it just looks nice, so I don't mind looking at it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And it's black. It wasn't very expensive. On the flip side of that, we always have music playing, and we have Sonos in the office. And so we got a couple speakers mounted to the walls, and they're glorious.
Nice.
Glorious.
Nice, yeah. Music is important. If I'm not listening to someone try to teach me, about, on Pluralsight, I have music going all the time.
Yep.
Keeps the brain focused. I'm not sure what that process is, but it really helps.
Yeah, we've got 2 Play 5s sitting up in the corners. This is 550 square feet or something like that, 500 square feet. So it's long between the two, and then there's a sub sitting behind me. So
nice.
Sounds good loud, and it's not, I can have it playing without it being connected to all this other goo, right? I could just go to my phone and fling stuff up there, and that was kind of important for me for the, like, I don't need my computer to be the delegator, if you will, and Sonos filled that norm. So overly priced for what they are, but it's fantastic.
Yeah, they are nice. I like being able to just go up to one and press the button, and it remembers what it did last time. So if I have streaming audio, so I listen to a station called Radio Paradise, and I just go up. If I've played it, and it sometimes they get stupid and they kind of forget. But if you hit play, it's like, oh, now it's playing again. That's kind of cool.
It is. It is electronics. Some programmer forgot that statement in the said switch statement. What do I do here? Act stupid. Abort.
Exactly. Erase all memory. Start over.
Right. Go to 100. Respond with, I can't understand you. What did you say?
Standard response. And then just infinite loop. Right. Because there's no break.
Why don't you just tell me what you want to see? Yeah. All right, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, as always, it's a pleasure. You and I will have to collaborate and get some notes out, because I'm sure I will have forgotten some of the things. But we'll get this up for everybody that's watching, and or not watching, and have fun. Get yourself a camera.
Thanks, you too.
You need one. You look like
I do. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, you look like crap.
Well, you look marvelous.
I got some suggestions for you.
You have some opinions on that?
Yeah, I can spend your money.
All right. Have a great day.
Will do. We'll see you.